Okay. So, wait, nabbit. I've done a new thing, which is to use YAPC, which is it's either YAPC or YASP. Let me see. I forget. YAPC. Yeah. It's a nice little plugin management thing. So now I have plugins for things. So for example, the monitor, the thing that used to be in the monitor, it was in the main section here. It is now a plugin. So it just, like, when it activates, it does everything to make the window. When it deactivates, it shuts it all down. And the update is combined with an update event in the context, which is just sort of a global thing. It's passed into every class pretty much when it's, well, okay, it's here we get all the plugins, and then we set them up, which is a thing in my custom plugin base, which gives it a context, which is the global context. So you have access to the launch control, launchpad, plugin manager, and some events such as exit and update. So for monitor, update goes and gets the launch controls display function, which is what it used to do anyways, and then it updates it. And then also and then for YAPC, of course, you have to have a little plugin metadata file, which is normally .yapc-plugin, but I changed it to plugin because why not? Launch control monitor. Yeah, you got all this good stuff. So that's great. And then I also moved the close thing, where I would turn this guy to full, turn him back, and that would shut it down. Or if I did all the way, but then I didn't want to, I would do it again, and now it would reset. Then I'd have to do it again in order to shut it down. Well, that is now also a thing. And then what it does when it's actually going to shut down is it just calls the exit event. And the exit event in the main thing is tied to setting global done to true, which then forces this to stop, right? And you know what else I could do? Yeah, let me do that real quick. Okay, so I just added in this at the very bottom there, so that all the plugins get deactivated before it shuts down. So, well, no, actually, no, I don't want that. Well, no, I do. Yeah, no, I don't want that. Because, so I was gonna say, oh, they should all get deactivated, but it doesn't actually matter. The program stops anyways. But and they can tie into the exit event if they need to do something before they shut down. So that's fine. So that's good. I also changed core to run. What else did I do? Right. Did I make something new in JSON config? No, I didn't. Okay. So, that's cool. And the other thing I did was, get rid of that. I made it, so I noticed that, that my code that was handling my, the holding of notes and triggering hold one events, that was really bogging it down, because essentially every single run through here, the main loop, I was checking through 16 times 128, so 2048 node states to see. I was checking through 2048, calling hold time which checks if time.time is less than self.note states channel note, and then if it's greater than 1, then I would send a hold 1 event. Of course, that is not ideal, because that's checking through 2048 things. That was really slowing it down. I mean, for example, just turning this like this and then back to turn it off, that would take like 5 to 10 seconds, because every single time it did that, and a bunch of times in between, it was doing that. So I've changed that now. So there's another list, and that right here, and then that list stores when a note goes on, then it says, then in that list, it adds a item which is a list of channel, and then note, and then 0. And then that way, we just iterate through that, and then if the hold time is greater than 1, and I2 is less than 1, then we do the hold 1, and then set I2 to 1. And that, that way I can I don't call hold 1 over and over and over again, because it's over 1. And once it hits 1, then it says, okay, I've done 1. Then if I later have a hold 2, then that would be less than 2, and then it would set it to 2. So that's nice and expandable. And then for note off, we iterate through that. And if it is the same channel and note, we remove it and then break, so we don't keep iterating and get bad index errors. So yeah, I mean, I'm really liking it. And of course, that I haven't really added any functionality except for I've added expandability. But yeah, I mean, so now, I mean, there are two options. Of course, you can do the JSON config, which is like this, right? I mean, you can always do this if you want to have something sort of simple. But then you also have this option of making a plugin, which would be for something more advanced. And actually, one of the things I wanted to do with the plugins at first was to make it so that, well, for example, the context here, I have the plugin manager as a thing that it does. Right here, I actually have the plugin manager in the context. And the reason for that is that I was planning to do, like, well, for example, like a settings configuration thing would be a plugin, whether it be Tkinter or maybe a web server or something, and then that could like modify what plugins are loaded and such. Or you could have like some sort of same thing. Yeah, you could have some sort of same thing like Tkinter web server that could mess with the launch control launchpad. So, I mean, you can do plenty with plugins. You can do anything you can do with Python, essentially, and you can loop yourself into the exit or update events, and then of course the on, off, cc, sysx, hold 1, any, and any note. That was another one. Any note. I made that for this update because I had it on any, but it really just needs note on, note off. This guy is this whole functionality. And he needs to know note on and note off, so I just said any note, and that's note on, note off, all in one. Yeah, it's pretty great. Okay, bye.